Appropriation is a borrowing of an element of cultural expression of one group by another in order to create a brand new work. In the visual arts, this involves taking a well-known or popular image and presenting it in a new context to convey a whole different message. This first image we see is a painting of Campbell's tomato soup can. This was done by Andy Warhol in the 1960s. There isn't anything too spectacular about this image, except for the fact that before Warhol painted this can, it was just any other soup can. But after he painted it, it became a piece of iconic pop art. This is considered appropriation because he took something from one culture and painted it and put it into a different culture as a work of art. This next image is of Smokey the Bear trying to promote fire safety. This image combines two well-known images. The first, most obvious one is Smokey himself. We all know that he stands for fire safety and how we should try to be responsible. But the image is alluding to the old war posters of Uncle Sam saying, "I want you for the U.S. Army." This draws on most people's inherent patriotism. They might see this poster and think that if they don't listen to Smokey, they aren't fulfilling their duties as a citizen of the United States. The American flag might be the most iconic image ever. Anybody can look at it and know that it stands for freedom and liberty. The 50 stars in the corner represent each state that make up the Union, but in this image, the stars are replaced by corporate logos. The flag was appropriated from what everyone believes it to mean, and is something more of a visual commentary on our corporate society. What this image shows is that we are free, and we feel free. But how free are we? Huge corporations are all around us, and believe it or not, it's corporations that dictate a lot of how we act and what kinds of things we consume. Everyone wants to believe they have free will and make their own decisions, but this image is arguing for the exact opposite of that. This image also combines two pop culture icons. This particular image combines the look of the Joker from Batman with the cover of the Times magazine. This is not a real cover that was published, but it seems to be a Photoshop job done by someone who thinks the president is more a Joker than the president. This is interesting because Time magazine is one of the more popular magazines, and usually whatever comes out in the magazine would be seen as truth. The president, painted over with Joker makeup on the cover, contradicts that idea. This image combines four different corporate logos into one image. Each logo is manipulated a little so that if you read all of them, it says work, buy, consume, and die. This is an argument toward the kind of lives we lead. It's saying that we as a people do the same thing over and over again, and we're controlled by corporations. It's along the same lines as the flag image from earlier, but it doesn't have quite the same impact. It does still cause one to stop and think, though, about how much we really do rely on big corporations in our everyday lives. This image is from a graffiti artist that goes by the name Banksy. It looks to be an image of the typical protester. It's a young man, bandana tied around his face, getting ready to throw something. Normally, this would trigger thoughts of him throwing rocks or bricks or something similar, but in this, the typical protester is getting ready to throw flowers. This would convey the image that perhaps he wants a peaceful protest or he wants protests to stop. Now this image is a very popular one from around this area particularly. This is the image that is associated with the Husker football team's defense. Traditionally, the skull and crossbones were associated with fear or danger. By using the same image and putting a helmet on the skull, you make a fierce-looking image that would instill the same type of fear or feeling of danger into any opposing team. Appropriation, when used in a visual arts context, is a strong and effective tool. When people see an image in a context they never thought of before, they tend to think about and try to analyze that image deeper.